Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of the Cody Tucker Show. As always, be sure to like and subscribe, tell a friend, check out still got the merch store going. There are t-shirts available. Oh, are there? might have jumped the gun on the merch store, if I'm being quite honest. I don't think there was as much of a demand for it as I had initially believed. Initially. That's right. Sometimes when you say a word over and over, it just sounds like something made up, which then again, all words are. So, yeah. Oh boy. You'll have to forgive me. I just ate probably 2 days worth of food in about 5 minutes. And, well, there's about a 70% chance that I will, either one of two things will happen during the next hour. I will either fall asleep mid-sentence or shit my pants. Maybe both. Not exactly sure in which order. If I had to guess, lose consciousness and then shit pants. But it could very well be the vice versa. So, there's that. So, hope everyone is having a great day. Everyone, waking up, enjoying their Tuesday. Unless your name is Vince McMahon Jr. In that case, you can burn in hell. Okay. Now, I need to preface all of this with, I think it actually has probably been abundantly clear from previous episodes. I am a massive fan of professional wrestling and have been my entire life. I don't really watch it that much anymore because it kind of sucks. But from pretty much early as I could remember, we'll say 5, till probably, okay, so let's say about 1998, 99 to 2009. That 10 years, I idolized the world of professional wrestling. Obsessed with it. And to this day, I will go back and watch pretty much anything from that era or earlier. Like there is nothing that gives me more joy than hearing Jim Ross screaming at the top of his lungs that someone is about to die and that they got to stop this thing, while Undertaker is doing horrible things to Mick Foley. That gives me more joy than religion, religion. It is my religion. It's like my version of Greek mythology. Like, some people look at comic books, like if you ever watched the movie Unbreakable, the M. Night Shyamalan film with Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis, Samuel L. Jackson's character kind of makes a point that, pretty valid point actually, that superheroes are basically America's version of mythology. That what, mythology was to the ancient Greeks, Romans, Norse mythology, like all these characters, these deities, half deities, like, all these different like legends and folklore, that was basically like, it was their version of a superhero. And so comic books are basically like the American version of that, the modern American version. Well, to me, wrestling is that, but real. As real as it could be. Like, I 100% would be a practicing Austinite if Stone Cold Steve Austin had his own church. 100% am going to this. I would, without a doubt, believe that Shawn Michaels was Satan. Yeah, like if like wrestling is my religion, and in keeping with the theme of religion to me, I stopped giving a fuck about it a long time ago. But that being said, just prefacing all that by saying that, like, I'm not about to shit on this person from a place of, like, not knowing the world that this person existed in. So Vince McMahon Jr. Now, you know, in keeping with kayfabe, Vince McMahon eventually became a real scumbag. Now, if you go back and watch wrestling from, like, the really anytime up until, like, WWF, up until, like, the mid-90s, Vince McMahon was not Mr. McMahon. He was just Vince McMahon, kind of a dorky commentator. Then, that, with the coming of the Attitude Era, ushered in the character of Mr. McMahon, where Vince McMahon did a really good job at playing a complete piece of shit. Turns out, that might not have been as much of an act as we once thought. Now, I think it's been pretty well documented that he's a horrible person. And that, yes, revolutionized wrestling. And, in some ways, is God. In a weird way, kind of like, if wrestling is my religion, I mean, he basically, he didn't create it, but, like, he might be maybe like my Muhammad. Probably not that. No. He would be like my Joseph Smith. You know, wrestling obviously existed for a long time, but one guy came in and really stirred the pot and was a complete monster. Joseph Smith. So Joseph Smith, Vince McMahon, same person. Ipso facto. Well, it has come to light that Vince McMahon may have been involved in a little bit of human trafficking. And now I will say that I feel like I am in line with most people that whenever I hear the term human trafficking, I immediately think of Taken, the Oscar snubbed film starring Liam Neeson. So I picture like a woman being like drugged and, you know, kidnapped from a hotel room in Paris. An actress that is clearly not a teenager. Like, the actress, whoever it is that's in that Taken movie that plays his daughter, has got to be like in her late 20s. And they have her playing, you know, like a 16, 17-year-old, it seems like. And how she acts is like, she acts like a 10-year-old. Because she's so not, I mean, she's 10 years, probably at least 10 years removed from being that age. Side discussion, I guess. But it's just a thing that always bothered me about that movie. But it turns out even the human trafficking aspect of the Vince McMahon story is not actually the worst part. Now, if you are to do a little bit of a deep dive into what exactly he is being accused of, oh no, it is not good. So just kind of a couple bullet points here, things that I found to be especially intriguing. For one, Vince McMahon Jr., the former, I guess, president and CEO of the WWE, may or may not have taken a big steamy dump on a woman's head during a three-way. Yeah, we've all been there. Oh my God. Now, Vince McMahon is for sure, you know, just taking some dumps in his career. A lot of questionable character development in wrestling. A lot of just poor decisions. But taking a literal dump on a woman's head during a three-way. I don't know if there is a bigger buzzkill. Like being the other guy in that situation. Now that's got to be a bit of that's got to be a real predicament. Like, I don't know if there is a thing that would just destroy an erection more than watching a damn near 80-year-old man who is at this point in the act probably just red as an ape's ass from forehead down, and then just seeing a log come out. Now that's got to do it. I mean, she could have whispered in my ear mid-coitus, "I have AIDS." And I still don't think it would have killed the erection faster than watching Vince McMahon shit on someone. Because also it begs the question whether it was intentional or not. And an unintentional dump, boy, that's a bad spot to be in as well. Now, obviously, the one being shat on is, in the worst spot imaginable. But I just can't help but to imagine myself as being, because I would never have sex with Vince McMahon, willingly or not. And I would never be Vince McMahon, because despite what some people may think, I'm not that big of a piece of shit. So out of the three people in the situation, I'm forced to be the third shooter. And it's hard not to imagine what you would do in that situation. And yeah, it'd be difficult finishing. That's all I could really say about that. My God. But then there's that. He defecated on a woman's head, which is a big no-no. Now, another thing that Vince McMahon was doing, as alleged by the young woman the young traffickee, is that supposedly one of the things that Mr. McMahon liked to do was use sex toys on this woman. And, oh boy, he had a plethora of toys, dildos, if you will, that he named after professional wrestlers. So I'll let that sink in for a second. The person, a billionaire, the Julius Caesar of professional wrestling, had what I'm assuming is a briefcase that, when opened, had a lineup, probably different sizes and colors, shapes, curvatures, that each had the picture of a wrestling legend next to him. And I can't think of a worse feeling than being bent over a massage table and hearing him like, which one? And then just hearing, well. Boy, you don't want to get the Big Show brought out on you. That's for sure. Like, give me Hornswoggle. Give me Hornswoggle, or, I'll even take a Jimmy Wang Chang. Boy, I hope that's what his name was. You know what? I was thinking in my head just then, like, it's going to sound very racist if I, have that name wrong. But it isn't, because they named a Asian cowboy Jimmy Wang Chang. And I am almost 100% Jimmy Yang Chang. It's something like that. Very racist. A lot of racism in wrestling. And, it's hard not to watch it now and be like, holy shit, that is hilarious. But also, you can't stick up for Vince McMahon. No. But yeah, to have the Big Show brought out on you, oh man. Well, oh, that would be a nightmare. Like, I'll take the Booker T over that. Stick me with the spinneroonie. Jesus Christ. I mean, for how much people used to shit on the NBA back in the David Stern era, I don't think he was doing that to people. Roger Goodell. I mean, you don't hear about Roger Goodell, giving somebody the Warren Sapp. If he did, I would actually be even more of a fan of the NFL, I think. Yeah. I mean, that's much more of an MLB type activity, because they've been fucking their fans for the past, hell, whenever A-Rod ratted out everybody for juicing up. So was that 15 years ago? Yeah, that sport hasn't been the same since. Man, that's a hell of a... It's just not good. You can't do that to people. I guess you can if you're Vince McMahon, but... Oh, man. What a weird thing to do. It also goes in even further detail about, like, him basically having, what's his name? I'm like the name that was put in the article was like, I'm fairly sure is one of the Road Warriors. Either Hawk or Animal. I think is Hawk. Laurinaitis, I think is his name. When I read the name, I was like, I'm pretty sure that's one of the Road Warriors. Now, I could be wrong. But if that is one of the Road Warriors, Jesus. I guess I'd rather take Vince McMahon, but God. Oh, boy. Yeah. Vince McMahon he has a long history of fucking people. Literally, monetarily, emotionally. Just not a good person in general. Which is pretty obvious. No one in wrestling is that good of an actor. I've seen The Marine. I've seen Gridiron Gang. No one involved in professional wrestling is a good actor. With the exception, maybe, of Rowdy Roddy Piper. And basically just for the movie They Live. So, for him to be just that good at playing the role of a scumbag just is not possible. There's no way. Man. Yeah. God is dead. No, Vince McMahon's always been a piece of shit. It's very obvious. There's some... I don't think I'm alone in, having this gift. But I feel like I can tell very easily whether someone is a piece of shit or not, just from seeing them for like 5 minutes. And Vince McMahon, it takes about 18 seconds, give or take. You're like, that's not a good person. Now, I've been led astray multiple times. But, that's that, I guess. I never would have thought Stephen Hawking would have been up to what he was up to. So, but you have to put an asterisk. You have to put a star symbol next to that one, because if you don't really get to hear the person talk, if really all you can go off of is just watching their eyes dart back and forth, how do you really get a good judge of character from that? Anyone's gonna look, shifty or helpless if they're just... Uh-oh. Well, now, it's perfectly acceptable to make jokes about Stephen Hawking, because he turned out to be not quite McMahon level, but... Because McMahon's is not funny. Now, I have spent the last 20 minutes trying to make it funny, but it's not really funny. Stephen Hawking's is funny. Like, down the middle, you can't not laugh at what Stephen Hawking was doing. Midgets doing math equations on a chalkboard that's slightly too high. For one, sounds like a Frank Zappa album. But two, it's just a funny thing. And actually something that if I had hawking money / connections and was in his predicament, yeah, show me. I'd like to see it. I mean, I don't have any of his, I'm in no way similar to Stephen Hawking. I mean, I can run as fast as Stephen Hawking. That's about the only similarity we have. But turns out we both would like to see midgets doing very difficult math equations on a chalkboard that's slightly too high. So I don't know what that says about me, but it just can't be anything good. So I should probably move on before I get myself in a wee bit of a pickle. So we are reaching the time of year, very fun time of year for me, where we get to see what movies are going to be nominated for the Academy Awards. Now, I, like a lot of people, have not given two shits about the Academy Awards, or have not taken it in any way seriously, probably since No Country for Old Men won Best Picture. Since then, it has just been letdown after letdown of who is voting on this. And it seems like every year I know less and less of the movies nominated. And this year, 100% took the cake. Now, this is the list of movies nominated for Best Picture. Now, I want you to look at this list. If you, and be honest with yourself, if you have seen more than 2 movies out of the 10 movies nominated, that's 20%. If you have seen more than 20% of the nominated movies for the best movie of the year, then I want you to comment, do something, at least give yourself a pat on the back for being way more into movies than the majority of us. Because American Fiction, never heard of it. Anatomy of a Fall, never heard of it. Barbie, heard of it, never seen it. The Holdovers, never heard of it. Killers of the Flower Moon, heard of it, kinda seen it, seems good. Maestro, heard of it, looks boring as hell. Bradley Cooper's nose is pretty hilarious. Basically wearing a Barbra Streisand mask for 2.5 hours. That seems to be the gist. Oppenheimer, heard of it, have not seen it yet, but probably very good, probably deserves the nomination. Past Lives, never heard of it. Poor Things, never heard of it. Zone of Interest, never heard of it. And I like to consider myself to be somewhat of a movie fan, somebody who watches quite a bit of movies. Like, I don't think I'm like the average moviegoer. I have not seen a single one of these. Now, I should have seen Killers of the Flower Moon and Oppenheimer at least. That is 100% on me. That is not the Academy just doing a bunch of bullshit. Barbie, I probably still need to see it too. It just doesn't look good to me. And this isn't like an anti-feminism thing or any of that. It doesn't look good. Like, and if you say like you don't care to see it or it doesn't look good, people just automatically assume that you must like hate women. Not the case whatsoever. It's like the same thing whenever, like, I didn't want to see The Color Purple. It's not a racist thing. I hate musicals, and I mean the real one sucks. So why would I like a remake? If I don't like the original, I'm for sure not going to like the remake. The only remake that even comes close to being as good as the original is Red Dawn. So yeah, why would I watch The Color Purple? It looks like dog shit. But I will watch, other movies. I don't know. I just can't. It is amazing to me. How are these right here the 10 best movies of the year? Now, I get Killers of the Flower Moon and Oppenheimer. They both looked like they were very good, and I should have seen these movies. And Barbie, I can understand too, because a lot of people did like it very much. And I'm not even like shitting on them for liking it. Like, if you like it, it seemed like it is a movie a lot of people would like. But the other 7 movies, so 70% of these movies, like, I don't get it. They don't look good. And then people are willing to say, like, Barbie was snubbed. Okay, there is no snub. There's no snub. You either got it or you didn't. And people saying that Margot Robbie should have been nominated for Best Actress. Now, I don't know who else was nominated for Best Actress. If I had to guess off the top of my head, Meryl Streep, Glenn Close, Julianne Moore, and probably 2 other annoying white women, if I had to guess. Margot Robbie probably should have been nominated, but she wasn't. It's not a snub. They weren't like... That's not how that works. And then Greta Gerwig was not nominated for Best Director. Maybe she should have been, maybe she shouldn't. Who out of the other directors wasn't good enough? Because you can't just add one. You got to take one of those ones out. So you're saying that she's better than any of those other 5? I don't know. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. I'm just saying there is no snub. The Oscars have always been like this. It's been a thing where they just are basically too busy flicking their own bean that they don't care whether movies are actually like whether people actually enjoy these movies. It's them basically getting, I mean, for one, these nominations are bought. They are not earned nominations. It's production companies and whatever buying them. Now, is there a reason why Jennifer Lawrence got all these Oscar nominations while she was tugging off Harvey Weinstein? Yeah, probably a bit of a connection there, considering that Harvey Weinstein also paid off the Academy Awards to make Shakespeare in Love win Best Picture, when that movie was absolute, garbage. Horrible movie. Yet, it won Best Picture somehow. Over, like, Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, I think over Saving Private Ryan. So Harvey Weinstein, not only a real wanker in more than one ways, also hated the troops. Did not think World War II was the greatest. Did not think they were the great generation. He thought some bullshit movie with Gwyneth Paltrow and fucking God, that movie is so bad. I've watched it, which is, I can't believe I did, but I did watch it. Horrible. Now, with all this in mind, these are the movies that are nominated. If you don't know, there's also simultaneously, in conjunction with the Academy Awards, there are the Razzies. Now, the Razzies are Oscars reverse. It is the worst movies, the worst actors, the worst directors. Now, I'm going to pull... So, like a real award show, it's only five movies get nominated. As it should be. The Oscars should have never done this 10-movie bullshit. Because then, basically, anyone with what's the fucking software that people use? Final Cut. Anyone with Final Cut and, a book written by Nietzsche can end up getting nominated for a fucking Oscar. So I want to go over the Razzies, because the Razzies are fascinating to me. And here they are. So here's the worst pictures and worst actors. There's, probably didn't need to bring up worst actor, but why not? So worst pictures nominees: Exorcist Believer. Now, I also agreed that movie was not very good. Expendables 4. Did not know that movie existed. I mean, I knew that it was coming out, didn't know it was already out. So, boy, people must not like that. Meg 2, The Trench. Kind of enjoyed it. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Zachary Levi follows me on Instagram and has shared some of my videos. I like Shazam for that reason. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Enjoyable movie. That being said, I have heard of every one of these. 5 for 5. 100%. I would, without a doubt, much rather watch The Exorcist Believer, Meg 2, The Trench, and hell, Zach, I'll support you again. Give me Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I will take those 3 over any of those other 8 movies nominated for Best Picture besides Killers of the Flower Moon and Oppenheimer. There's no way. And then look at the actors. Wait, that's Oscars. Hold on. Look at the actors nominated. Russell Crowe, Pope's Exorcist. Now, people just hate Russell Crowe for some reason. I don't understand why people hate Russell Crowe. But let me tell you this. He is very good in that movie. And, I mean, yeah, it's an Italian accent, and whenever you see Russell Crowe, you think, he shouldn't be speaking with an Italian accent. You were literally in a movie called Gladiator, set in Italy as well. British accent. But everybody knows that any movie where it takes place more than 200 years ago, no matter where it is in the world, British accent. Or if it's a Disney movie, villain, British accent. Jesus Christ. There's something in there. Alright, so Russell Crowe should not have been nominated for worst actor. I have looked at the list of best actors for Oscars. He's better than any of the ones in the damn best actors category. Vin Diesel Fast X, that's deserved, especially in lieu of certain McMahon type activities. Chris Evans Ghosted. I heard that movie was a real pile of shit. Chris Evans is not a very good actor. Jason Statham, Meg 2 The Trench. What do you want from him? What do you want from Jason Statham? He's not Daniel Day fucking Lewis. One, he doesn't have a goddamn grandfather who basically invented British cinema and got his ass shoehorned in. Jason Statham was a dude who was basically selling fucking fake Rolexes on the street and got noticed by Guy Ritchie. So the fact that he's starring in movies is amazing. Jason Statham's also not a horrible actor. Now, John Voight Mercy, I don't know even what this movie is, but I know any movie starring John Voight after Holes, probably not a very good movie. So, I'll give it to him. Some of the actors probably deserved it. I'm just saying, you know that society has gone tits up when the Razzies are legitimately better than the Oscars. And I probably shouldn't care about any of these things. It doesn't fucking matter. Just watch movies that you like. If you like them, you like them. If you hate them, you hate them. No big deal. But I'm just saying, it just pisses me off that, the Oscars are, still somehow considered to be this, important thing. It ain't. Bitch. Alright. So let's fucking move on. So this happened. A Chinese marathon runner was disqualified for chain smoking through the entire race. Now, let me tell you something here. I have never felt more of a connection to a middle-aged, slightly above middle-aged Chinese man. Besides wearing this bandana, which may be more of a Japanese thing. But I've never felt more in tune with I would say probably 60-year-old Chinese man until right now. Which, granted, he could be 30, because if you're chain smoking through a marathon, boy, you have probably taken in some cigarettes in your life. So for all I know, this guy could be younger than me. But if I had the stamina to do this, without a doubt I'm doing it. For one, marathons are the dumbest thing on the planet. Running for nothing is dumb. Now, as you can tell, I am also a bit of a smoker. No, I do have something stuck in my fucking throat, and I'm not really sure what it is. I think there's dust on this, and I think I'm slowly inhaling just a lot of dust. Well, I was going to breathe on it, but that'll blow everyone's fucking eardrums out. Anyways, this man, let me bring it back up again. Should have got his name. A man named... No way. There's no fucking way that's his name. Hold on a tick. I'm going to zoom in on this. It's going to look funky. Just fuck off. No way. His name is Uncle Chin. How is that possible? Oh my God. I mean, that's real life. This guy's name is Uncle Chin. Now, I could have probably guessed that, and everyone would think that I was a racist. But if I was right, I'd be the greatest guesser in the world. Anyway, so Uncle Chin, it's hard not to say that without it sounding like you're making fun of this person, but that is his actual name, God-given. So Uncle Chin here was doing what everyone should do. Ruin marathons. Now, about a decade ago, there was a marathon that was ruined big time. Not saying to go that far, but if you want to just start tearing through a pack of Marlboros while you're running and basically smoking out the... Now, granted, it's not really the competition because they're behind you, but still, it's basically like a, fuck you to the people who can't keep up with you. I say, Fucking go right ahead, Uncle Chin. Uncle Chin is doing exactly what one should do. Now, it has always been my dream to get, like, just a real shitty car that has a really poor exhaust system and make it to the front of the line and basically pull an Uncle Chin, but for the entire crowd of marathon runners. Now, granted, I'm not going full, Boston on these people, but I am sending a message that you are ruining everyone's day. You are shutting down, was a marathon, 26 miles, 26.1? You're shutting down 26 miles of a major metropolis so that people could just slowly jog. And people are training, goddamn, all year for these marathons just so they could come in, 180th to like a bunch of Kenyan and Ethiopian dudes, which good on them, but like, spend your time doing something else. You don't have a chance at this. Like, you're not going to win the damn marathon. Like there's never been to me more of a, like, if, people who like want to shit on participation trophies, a marathon is the ultimate participation trophies. Literally just finishing is like a win to people. In what other sport is that true? Like, in the NFL, the Carolina Panthers aren't doing a parade through Charlotte right now because they finished a season. Half those people, had to put in like new security cameras in their property because people were trying to burn their houses down, I'm sure. No. Unless you win that marathon, you should not get no congratulations, no look at you, you did it, no picture at the finish line, nothing. You come in first, or, you just don't. It's such a stupid thing. It's very obnoxious. It's the same thing. You're not a professional athlete, so don't pretend to be one. It's the same people who do, like, cycling. Cycling is the most annoying goddamn thing ever. And if I was 100% sure that I wouldn't get caught, like, I had to be given full immunity ahead of time. Like, it couldn't just be like, oh, no one's going to see me. No, I would need to have, like, the federal government and state government issue me like an okay order. I would 100% just smoke one of these people riding a bicycle down the middle of the street. Like, it is insane to me. And I would feel nothing about it. Like, I don't think like a heartless person, but boy, if you slow down my drive to the gas station, you're going to get it. So, there's that. Now, last one, then we'll move on. This little fuck. So, was the world's oldest dog a fraud? Guinness World Records pauses title as it conducts investigation. Now, I think there was the name of the dog, wasn't there? Bobi? Is that his name? Suspended Bobi? Alright, let me tell you something about Bobi here. It has been, alleged that this little fucker is I think it was about 27 years old. Might be a little off on the date. Turns out Bobi might be completely full of shit. And by looking at this little smug fuck, I can tell he is a liar. This is the Milli Vanilli of dogs. The, who is it that was, in some ways this is kind of like the Tonya Harding of dogs as well. I guess in some way Tonya Harding is the Tonya Harding of dogs. But this dog, you are standing on 100% stolen valor, you bitch. And you can tell by looking at him. Like, there's no way that dog would look like that at 30 years old. I am 30 years old. And what, dog years are what, 7 years to 1 human years? So that's like this dog being, no. That's like this dog being 210 years old. Ain't no way. I look older than this dog. And I'm aging in human years. There's not a chance. I hope, now if this dog is still alive, I hope that whenever they do the investigation, they come in and just crack this fucker across the head and send his ass to, I don't know, somewhere wherever they eat dogs. I'm sure there's lots of places. Actually, if you go to Taco Bell during the slow hours, you're probably eating a dog. But I'm just saying, Bobi is a fraud. Do what they did to Pete Rose. Put an asterisk next to his name in any record book. No Dog Hall of Fame for him. And Pete Rose didn't even do anything, which is a whole other fucking argument of why baseball's stupid. But Bobi, you son of a bitch. We believed in you, Bobi. We believed in you. And look what you did to us. You let us down. You led us down a path of lies, deceit. Now, Vince McMahon's a bad person. That's for sure. Bobi is a monster. Because Vince McMahon didn't lie to anybody. Vince McMahon has been telling us who he is for the past 25 years. At least. Even longer than that, really. Mr. McMahon has shown us that he is a scumbag. And we chose to ignore it until it turned out that he pooped on someone's head. And was using dildos named after fucking Marty Jannetty on people. One half of the Rockers. Someone stop this. Someone stop this thing. That's the biggest damn dildo I ever saw. But Bobi had the world. Bobi had the world feeling some sort of happiness for once. In a time of post-COVID, where people are lost, businesses are closed, streets are deserted, riddled with homeless people shit and needles, Bobi was like one shred of hope that magic could exist, that a miracle could happen in today's world. And that little motherfucker had the audacity to betray all of us. I hope they William Wallace that fucking dog. Tie him up, draw and quarter, do whatever it was they were doing to Mel Gibson's nutsack, making him going, oh. Whatever it was they were doing, I hope they do it to Bobi. Fuck you, Bobi. Oh, man. Now, if he is telling the truth, then I take back everything I just said. But, well, that's a big if. And again, to echo earlier sentiments about me feeling like I'm a pretty good judge of character, yeah, Bobi looks like the type to do it. Well, that'll do it for this part. Time to switch over to the educational part of the program. See what's going on. Maybe learn something. Teach something. Learn something. Well, alright. Time to do that. So, take a break and be right back. Alright, so time to do a little bit of the old where that come from. Take a famous word or phrase, figure out where does it come from, why do we say it, all that good stuff. So today we're looking at two words, man, woman, which on paper you would think are related, that one comes from the other. Not so. Actually, come completely different. So, man and woman, initially, not actually related. Same for male and female. So, you would think male, female come from the same thing. They do not. They do not even come from the same language. So, male actually comes from the French masel, M-A-S-L-E, which is where the word masculine comes from. That is where the word male comes from. Female comes from Latin, the Latin word femala. Femala meaning young girl, and that is where the word feminine comes from. So female comes from Latin, male comes from French. Not even related. So, as far as man and woman, how that comes about is eventually we get to like Middle English, where we take man, which at the time just meant human. There's no like separation. Man is just human. And to separate it, a male man to separate it, the Middle English prefix for male is were, W-E-R. So wereman is male. Now the feminine prefix, so to make it female, is weef, and W-I-F. So weef man. Now, eventually over time, wereman, the W-E-R gets dropped and it's just man. Weef man goes from wiffman to weeman to woman, woman. So that's how we get man and woman. Now, even though the prefixes are, switched, dropped off, whatever, still kind of holds true somewhat today. Like that Middle English version of it can still be found in some ways in today's usage. So the W-E-R, wereman, is where we get werewolf. Werewolf just meaning man-wolf. Werewolf. Now, the weef prefix, meaning female, ends up becoming the word wife. So, still today, all that shit works together, but initially. So, just weird that two words that sound like they 100% are coming from the same place have nothing to do with each other in like 4 different languages. So, yeah, pretty wild. So, yeah, basically, words that have nothing to do with each other coming from 3 different languages end up sounding that similar. Wild stuff. So, there's that. Time to move on to a little bit of the old half-ass history. All right, so first topic of the day, going into a little bit of astronomy, history, mythology even, a little bit of everything, a little hodgepodge, if you will. So, what we're talking about today is a comet, and not just any comet. This is a very famous, well-documented comet that reaches Earth, this comet flies across Earth every 75 to 76 years. Comet is called Halley's Comet. So Halley's Comet, named after the astronomer Edmund Halley, who started documenting the comet in like the late 1500s. He started noticing that this comet should start coming, basically started predicting that the comet would return on a set time, that it was basically that the comet was operating in like a pattern, and that he could therefore predict when the comet would return. And ever since, he has been correct. It returns every 75, 76 years. Well, over time, that comet, Halley's Comet, has developed kind of a folklore. Sort of a, people seeing it as a sign, good or bad. Lots of interesting takes on Halley's Comet and its significance. So even going back before it was ever called Halley's Comet, that before it was being documented as this thing that would return every 75, 76 years, people across the world have put a certain significance to it. So most of the time it's looked at as this sign. So most of the time a sign of tragedy, sometimes like a sign that, that you need to do a certain thing. People look at it with different viewpoints. So, in the year 1066, very famous year for the nation of England. Well, 1066, King Harold II is killed, and he is overtaken by William the Conqueror. 1066 is a year where Halley's Comet was visible. Now, fast forward to 1222. 1222, Genghis Khan decides, I should probably try to take over Europe. 1222, a year that Halley's Comet returns. Genghis Khan allegedly said that comet basically basically influenced his decision to do that. So in 1222, when Genghis Khan sees Halley's Comet, sees it as a sign that he should try to take over Europe. Now, there's different reasons for why people started looking at the comet as being this, bringer of tragedy and sickness, all these different things that you can read about Halley's Comet. Well, the partially scientific reason for it, is that the tail of Halley's Comet is filled with cyanogen, a pretty toxic gas. And people started believing that gas would creep into the atmosphere and make people across the world sick and delirious and basically completely fuck with people. And so charlatans started selling these miracle cures to protect you from Halley's Comet. Well, in 1910, King Edward VII of England ends up dying. 1910, another year for Halley's Comet. 1910, Mark Twain also dies. Now, Mark Twain dying the same year that Halley's Comet returned is especially interesting because he predicted that he would die in 1910. Mark Twain predicted that he would die the same year that Halley's Comet returned. The reason he believed that is because Mark Twain was born in 1835, right after Halley's Comet had returned again. So yeah, he believed that he came with the comet and was going to leave with the comet. So yeah, Halley's Comet, a lot of interesting folklore, little science in there, but not really. So yeah, that's the story of Halley's Comet. Moving on. All right, so time for the last one of the day. Then we'll move on out of here and, move on to bigger and better things. So, story that we're talking about today involves a pretty good band I happen to enjoy. I don't know if they're particularly big, but neither here nor there. So the band that we're talking about is the Zombies. So the Zombies, kind of like the last hurrah of the British invasion of the 1960s. In 1968, they released the single Time of the Season. Well, it ends up the next year becoming very big in the United States. Huge single. So, you would think, well, time for the Zombies to come to the U.S. and tour. They had already broken up. So the Zombies don't get to come to the U.S. and tour off of the fame of that single. Well, the record company, Delta Promotions, decides, we could probably do a little bit of a workaround here. They come up with the idea to just make a fake band and call them the Zombies, believing nobody would know the difference. There is no internet. People in the U.S. don't know what these guys look like. They just know the song Time of the Season. So screw it. They'll still come out and see them. And they were right. So not only did they make one fake Zombies, they made a second fake Zombies. And at the exact same time, both fake Zombies were touring across the United States. Well, one of those bands ends up just kind of dissolving into nothing. The other band happened to be a little blues band from Dallas. Two of the members of that band were Frank Beard and Dusty Hill, who would later join forces with a guitarist named Billy Gibbons and create the legendary band ZZ Top. So, yeah, there's that one. That's the end of that. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope everyone has a great rest of their day, except for Vince McMahon. I hope you rot in hell. Bobi as well. Bobi, I hope you just burn in doggy Hades, wherever does dogs go. I mean, I guess by the, according to the legendary motion picture, All Dogs Go to Heaven, all dogs go to heaven. I do not believe that to be true. I think most dogs are really just swindlers who pretend to like you just so that you'll feed them. But, that's neither here nor there. Bobi's a piece of shit, and he'll get what's coming to him. If he's not already dead. He may, in fact, already be dead. And in that case, good. You will not be missed. All right, so that's the end of that. Thank you for watching. There's no way anyone is still watching by now, so I could literally say whatever the fuck I want. And nobody would ever hear it. Bill Clinton did 9/11. Alex Jones for president. I don't know. No, that last one is the last one was a lie. So, Clinton, who the fuck knows? All right, so time to go. Wrap it up. Goodbye. All right, so let's see. First topic, no, not first topic. Second topic. Jesus. Second topic of the day involves one of my favorite actors of all time. Kind of a controversial figure for obvious reasons, but I think an incredible actor. It's the actor Sean Penn. So, over the years, it has been well documented that Sean Penn, at times, has a bit of a temper. Particularly when he was in a relationship with Madonna, where he where Sean Penn broke in through her window, tied her up to a chair, and beat her ass with a baseball bat and burned her with cigarettes. Yeah. A bit aggressive, but yeah, Sean Penn, kind of known for having that fiery temper. Well, in 1987, Sean Penn, Jesus Christ. In 1987, Sean Penn was filming the movie Colors. While filming the movie Colors, he ends up getting pretty heated with one of the extras and fights him. Ends up fighting an extra. Now, leaves, does a little bit of reckless driving, couple those two things together, he ends up getting arrested, put in jail for 33 days. So Sean Penn beats up an extra, gets caught driving like a maniac, sandwich those things together, a month in jail. So, while Sean Penn is in jail, he meets a fellow inmate who is awaiting his trial. That inmate looks at him and is like, oh shit, Spicoli. And so the inmate decides, hey, I'll write a letter to Sean Penn. And Sean Penn gets said letter from fellow inmate, looks at it, and responds to that inmate. In Sean Penn's response to that inmate, he said, I hope you die in the gas chamber. And you might be thinking, geez, Sean Penn, still a little fiery. Like, what did this guy ever do to deserve Sean Penn saying something like that to him? Well, the fellow inmate who wrote that letter to Sean Penn was none other than Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah. So, maybe pretty good reason for Sean Penn to say, I hope your ass dies in the gas chamber. So, score 1 for Sean Penn. So, time to move on to the last one, and then we will get the hell out of here. Here we go. 1 second.